the first law that was given to the people, which is the eagle. And the eagle represented the law of love. The eagle came forward here this afternoon to leave no doubt in any one of us. This moment will be captured in a way that there will leave no doubt of what had happened here today. You will be remembered. You will be talked about in the future generations that are to come. They will talk about this time when we found our way back to the center.
These caretakers of the earth who have a very, very strong relationship with nature, a very great reverence for nature, and everything they do is not just for this generation, for many generations. To me, it was a very beautiful thing to be involved in that ceremony.
Prophecy said there would be a white brother that would become the warrior of his people, and he would discover what would help validate our way of life today. And we have this warrior here to join us. I want to call on Frank Albo. Frank.
I was working on a research project in the Department of Anthropology in Winnipeg. In the process of going through this project, I was introduced to Dave and met him here. Did a tour of the building, and I don't think the kind of puzzle of the building really made much local sense for me until I was introduced to Dave. Since that time, he's taken me on a different kind of odyssey. I think in that case, this is where our story first begins. The research project was going through 20 years of field notes and research that the founder of the Anthropological Museum in Winnipeg had undertaken in his investigations of this site called Tie Creek in Manitoba. Perhaps the oldest First Nations rock formation settlement area in North America. And by sheer accident, I happened upon being the organizer of trying to compile and in some cases decipher his notes. And in the process of going through this project, I was introduced to Dave, and I had no idea that he was doing work at the sacred site and reintroducing an Indigenous way of life into what he called the center of creation. So when we came to the building, and I think for him, he I think largely didn't want to be here. It was, for the most part, an academic pursuit. It started as trying to address questions and anomalies about the building, why there were certain features architecturally that didn't make sense for a building where laws are enacted. In the process of going through the study of the building, it became an all-consuming kind of enterprise, taking me from various graduate departments, both in Canada and in Europe. And I don't think the kind of puzzle of the building really made much local sense for me until I was introduced to Dave, and that began a whole new chapter of the, I think, symbolic questions about the building. This building is, at least in the 21st century, a building where laws are enacted that fulfills the destiny of the province. Well, that same place, thousands of years ago, was the temple. I think that this is a reconstruction of King Solomon's temple, seen through the eyes of the Masons that would have known how this is done. It's kind of like an encyclopedia of world architecture. It includes the sacred architecture of many traditions. It's been thought since the building of Solomon's temple that God encoded in the plan, the length, the dimensions of this building a way of describing the whole universe, that in one single building, all of the secrets of the universe were also encoded. This is something that shows up in many different traditions, whether it's an igloo or it's the Temple of Karnak, that these buildings where God resides, however you want to call them, could be Krishna, Buddha, Allah, whatever, that this house is more than just an office space for God.
The building itself was strategically centered here in America, and very close by is the most sacred site of the indigenous people of this area. And it is also within the geographic center of America. Everything that is represented in the sacred site of our people represented the beginning, that the Great Spirit had a vision, and the vision represented the significance of a circle. The sun is in a circle, the moon is in a circle, the planets are in a circle, the earth, our home, circles around the sun.
In the architect's own words, he said that this building would, in the course of time, make people more intelligent, better balanced, and altogether more civilized human beings. I don't know if it's working, and perhaps there is this building as a kind of a vehicle, as a way of leading us to this new age of laws would be, I think, what the architect had in mind, that somehow using architecture, this has an impact on your soul. And why? Because, see, the temple is a metaphor for the body. That's what the temple is. It's a metaphor for the body. And so is it possible that all of us who have bodies have it's like a dwelling place for our spirit? Well, kind of like the same thing here. Maybe this building is a dwelling place for a spiritual truth. At least that was, I think, behind the vision of the architect. I always treated this as almost a kind of hocus pocus, I'll be honest with you. That, okay, yes, the architect believed these things, Masons believed this kind of stuff and whatnot, but I never really kind of got the juice of it until I saw living tradition through the First Nations people. You're introduced to the subject of this building right from the outset. We find seated in the center in this pediment, this figure, Lady Manitoba. And like the First Nations prophecy that there would be this return to the center, this pediment constructed almost 100 years ago also allegorizes the same story. The builders of this temple, this building, thought that there was going to be this great confluence from the Pacific and the Atlantic that would journey back to the center.
You know, I remember being asked to take part in a tour that was happening at the legislative buildings, and my first reaction was resistance. I didn't really want to go. I didn't feel that there was anything there that would be appealing to me, because the building itself represented something that I've been trying to get away from in my own personal life. To me, the building itself represented a place where laws were created, but more so, I think it represented a place where we were not necessarily, or did not necessarily have an equal participation. I met Frank for the first time. I felt an immediate bond with Frank. When we came to the east side of the building, and then I looked up towards the top of the building, and then I saw a Native American and a Roman soldier holding this chest. It immediately drew my attention, and I knew that there had to be some significance to this. It wasn't until we entered into the inside of the building, then I knew that there was something very significant. And the more that I learned and understood the architecture of the building, and especially the building itself representing a temple, and the way that it was created and built, that I knew that this building could be something that would lend to supporting the release of the knowledge, the wisdom, and the vision of the red man. When I looked at the star that was displayed in this building, I saw that it was a star within that circle, that what it lacked was the knowledge and the meaning of that star and the substance of what was missing in understanding that star.
Afterwards, he said, "There's another temple I'd like to take you to, and it's this turtle lodge that he had built." So I journeyed up there. I'd never been on an Aboriginal reserve in my life. I thought, oh gosh, what am I doing here? This is kind of ridiculous. I don't know. Okay, so I met this elder, and most of my experience with I think Aboriginal way of life was not seeing the value and worth and extraordinary wisdom of these people. So when I went to the Turtle Lodge, he invited me into the center, and I remember walking closer and closer to the center of the lodge, and there was this 8-pointed star. I said, "What? It's curious. You're taking me to this star building." So we sat in the center, and he introduced this drummer, and he did this ceremony, and I just felt like, okay, whatever, I'll go about this business. You know, what do? I just sit here and let them do their thing. I figured, okay, well, the least I could do is take some kind of order of respect and close my eyes and pretend it's a solemn experience for me. And I just was like, okay, yes, and smoking the pipe and drumming, and I had a profound experience. For a while there, I'm closing my eyes and I'm feeling this Dave dancing around me. And I'm feeling this and to a point where I'm feeling this intrusion on my space, like, whoa, hey, this is, okay, just allow this to happen. And so he, or I thought that he was dancing around me, and then I asked him after, I said, why were you dancing there? And he said, I wasn't dancing. I said, no, there was somebody, were you dancing? I'm talking to Carl, his drummer, and they both looked at each other and started laughing. And Dave said, your name is this, and gave me this spirit name. And I think that ever since then, I've been kind of scratching my head because I did have this experience. I don't know what to do with it. And it intrigued me to find out, what is this all about, and why would, what does sacred space mean to you? Since that time, he's introduced a new chapter, which is a more interior, I think, spiritual vision quest. The story is unveiling itself as this process goes along. You see, the city of Winnipeg at the turn of the 20th century was supposed to be the Chicago of the North. It was this gateway to prosperity, merchantry, and travel and trade. The architects looking for a chief icon to represent the city of Winnipeg. And the representation of Hermes, the golden boy. The architects picked a perfect figure. However, there's also another side to this story. Hermes is a messenger god. He's also the guide of souls. And in the underworld, it was Hermes that carried souls across the river Styx. Hermes, throughout history, has been this provider, patron of the knowledge of alchemy, the knowledge of astronomy, astrology, the knowledge of sacred building, of numbers, of the esoteric arts. And those things I found very present in the architecture of this building. So for the most part, Hermes as this way shower and torchbearer also turns up in the biography of Dave, doesn't it? He turns up to be a torchbearer. So it's a strange dream, isn't it? It's a strange dream. Like, I don't know who's creating who here on top of this. His name means the leading earthman. Is this happening? Am I inventing it? Which way is it going? And all I could do is just kind of journeying on the ride, and every now and then pretend I know what I'm doing. But for the most part, it's just a a different kind of odyssey. On the east is this statuary, officially called the war chest. And on the top of the war chest is a war drum, and flanked on either side are these two warriors, a Roman and a Native American. I have no question in my mind that the architect had placed a war chest flanked by two winged warriors, that the motif or allegory in mind was certainly the Ark of the Covenant. The Ark of the Covenant is an extremely important part of the function of King Solomon's temple. Also, the Ark was carried as a war chest. That's what the official term for this piece of statuary is called the war chest. And the Ark was used as a war chest in battle. The walls of Jericho were brought down by the emanation from the Ark of the Covenant.
You know, when I saw the figure of the Native American and the Roman holding this chest, and the first thing I saw were, you know, the symbols of war, the cannon, the arrows, and the rifle on the chest that the Native American and the Roman was holding. And to me, what it represented was that this Native American and this Roman soldier were going to bury something. It was almost like a casket. That was what it appeared to me. It wasn't until later on, you know, through talking with Frank, that it was considered, you know, like the Ark of the Covenant. And I never really understood, you know, the Ark of the Covenant, other than, you know, what Frank had told me, that it was the Ark of the Covenant, you know, was what carried, you know, the 10 Commandments for the Christian people. You know, and I'm sure the Ark of the Covenant at that time had its purpose and meaning for whatever it was carrying. But why did it suddenly appear in symbolic form in the center of America, where the truth was about to be revealed? Would the Ark of the Covenant in a spiritual way today represent, you know, what had to be buried in order to receive what was inside there? And what was buried was the symbol, what was creating all the violence in the world. And what was really important to me was what was inside the chest. And then I knew that what was inside there were what we were told had to be brought to the world, which was the essence of the 7 laws and where they derived from.
This chest, at least according to what I'm discovering with Dave, is containing something that inside the Ark of the Covenant were the 10 Commandments. What are those? The law. And what Dave is introducing through the 7 spiritual laws of Indigenous people is that the laws that have not been included and in effect almost sealed, at least in this building, are these First Nation laws, which are of equal value and weight, importance, and perhaps the salvation for our future. These new laws of respect and honesty and love. And so, yeah, if it has anything to do with that, then I'm happy to be involved in the process of opening that chest. First Nations people speak in dreams and prophecies. So he looks up at this chest and he said, "You see, I'm this guy and you're this guy." And I thought, what do I do with this information? I'm trying to process this information. And so my analytical mind is going, well, of course I'm not the Roman guy. They didn't have any idea of what would happen 95 years from now. But you see, in First Nations teachings, always in control is the Great Spirit. You might think on the surface that there is, human ingenuity and man running the show, but always is nature and spirit running things. So, at least for him, and I'll be honest with you, I'm becoming more and more tuned on to this, that this building was also influenced by a higher power of spirit, more than simply this Masonic fellowship and Hermetic philosophy, and this building as a template of an ancient temple. More than that, something else is going on.
So the Roman, to me, represented, like in his regalia, he represented a warrior of today. He was not a warrior, but rather a peaceful human being that would be chosen in this time. The bonnet that the Native American is wearing represents the bonnet of peace and love. All the feathers that he's on his head, the feathers represent the spirit of the eagle, the spirit of love. Those two individuals are what we would call as Ogichita, two men that would be truly walking the road of peace, have a greater understanding of life and a greater passion for peace. So that is the way I saw it, that the Roman represented, our challenging relationship. But it's changing, and it's changing for the better.
It's important to look at the legislative building not just as an office space for the people that enact law, but that the building itself is an instrument.
In temple ideology, the most important act in the building is the ceremony of the laying of the cornerstone. It goes back in earliest of antiquity, because this is the moment, kind of like, to use an analogy, like the sperm and the egg. This is the moment of conception. This is the moment where the deity to whom you've dedicated your building is said to reside in the building at this date of the cornerstone. So the conception of the building, the housing of the deity. Turns out that the largest scandal in this government's history occurred with the cornerstone laying of this building. You see, the person responsible for the laying of the cornerstone of this building, very significant act, on a very significant day, end up being responsible for $1 million in overages in this building. A huge scandal that not only brought down the entire government administration, but led to a great deal of suspicion about what was involved in the construction of this place. The conception of this building was founded on, at least at that time, a kind of greed, which to me is representative of our relationship with the earth so far, a type of greed. What can I get out of it? That I don't think has been good for the destiny of this place and this people, and just so happen to be in the center of the continent, aren't we? Center of North America. Something happened which perhaps wasn't in the best interests of this land. So if we fast forward to, I guess, 90 plus years after that on a particular time of day at the sacred site, that Dave set out to correct this flawed moment. And is it possible that I'm involved in the changing of it? It's kind of a big thing to fill.
When we realized that we had to do something to do a cleansing of the building in Winnipeg, we knew that we had to try and find the proper time in which to do the ceremony itself. We were guided to first of all do the ceremony itself on our sacred site, known as Manitou, Albo.
that brought their pipes sit in the front here.
In the process, we consulted people that understand how important it is to connect with the stars, the sun, the moon, and the other planets. We knew that it was going to be important to having an alignment that would be conducive to ensuring that we would be successful in the ceremony of the cleansing. As a result, we contacted people that have that knowledge, and we were given the date of June the 3rd at 2:22 p.m. to officially do the ceremony. It wasn't a coincidence that the alignment fell in anniversary to the actual date of the laying of the cornerstone of the building. And according to the ones that have the knowledge of the stars and the alignment of the planets, we were told that Mercury and Venus would be aligned in the 9th house. Mercury being the planet of the messenger, and Venus expressing what I believe is the vision of our people, that vision of peace, which carries the essence of love. And in between were the sun and the moon. The moon represented the change and reflected also the power of the women. So we had all the planets lined up in a way that ensured that we would be successful in, first of all, changing or making a shift of the building itself and what it was originally intended to do. We also had the participation of the drums of the 4 directions. We had the drums of the red people, the yellow, the black and the white. And it was important for us to sound those drums, to ensure that the prayers that we were requesting, to that higher power of spirit would be heard. But it would be a prayer that we hoped that would be felt by all of humanity around the world, and that's the power of the drum.
I want to thank all of you again that have come to support this very important ceremony that we're about to perform. I want to thank the pipe carriers, to the ones that have come to lend support to our wish for this peace in the world. And there's been cloud offerings that have been passed around. And this is our way of inviting you to participate in the ceremony, that you also lend support to the sacred pipes that become the key to the alignment that's going to take place here very shortly. And what you are a part of today will be nothing less than historic. It was prophesied by our visionaries that we would find our place back to the center. And as we made our way back to the center, we would invite all of our brothers and sisters to join us as we celebrate this spirit of peace. The messenger is well, what better sign can we receive? 7 minutes. Dagamano shigo chijap shkamaga kenagego gagiji minigo zegena nishnabe nongam chibek chigate gegen chijap shka chigo nishnabe gewinchi chibagit negechi gewin nishnabe ani gewin et konang nongam wega nongam ga oya ke oya gajabagit namot oya we ne peshko chigo weshko te nongam dashkiti makta shini timakta shin. I want to ask my brother to come forward here, because without him, I don't think it would have moved as fast as it has in order for us to be here today. But through the research that he's done and him finding out that the legislative building is really a temple. And I believe that he is that one that sits on the east side of the building that represents the Roman that's going to help us to bring forward, what we're doing here today. And I hope that you get a chance to talk to him. He has become very special in my life because I know that he is a person of the heart. I know that he understands what we're trying to do and what we believe. I want to call on Frank Albo. Frank.
95 years ago, just like in the very space we're standing in, every single feature of this building was designed with a symbolic intent. The building itself is an instrument, a very powerful instrument that has not been used. In fact, they've lost how to use it. What happened today is our presence and this song and this gathering has perhaps changed the course and the destiny of not just this city and this province, but the center from which it all radiates, because we are in the center.
How is it that Dave was able to do this? I don't know, but it seems to me a step forward.
I have the unique privilege of presenting our next speaker, so please help me in giving a warm hand to Dave Courchene.
My dear brothers and sisters, I am deeply honored to be in your presence and to be in such a place that is recognized as one of, if not the most highly regarded learning places here on this planet that we call Mother Earth. As the first peoples of America, we face a tremendous challenge to try to share the heart and the spirit of our people. Back home in America, we still are in a marginalized world where we are still not accepted and respected for the kind of contribution that we can make in offering the knowledge and the teachings that have been handed down from our ancestors. According to the teachings of our people in America, we were given 7 sacred laws they say must act as the foundation of the new life. And this will be our contribution as a people, that we will lay out the 7 laws or the 7 teachings that are connected and symbolized by animals, showing that we are all connected to nature. And this is going to be a difficult, challenging task for us, to be able to inspire the human family to lay down these 7 laws that would act as the foundation of the support of the new life. This rock represents to our people the highest source of power, which we refer to the Great Spirit, the Creator. And to our people, in our belief system, the sun is the clearest physical symbol that we have that there is a higher power of spirit. This rock is put at the beginning of the star that represents the east, where the sun rises every morning, comes from the east. It's the beginning. And in order to understand these laws that will be laid out there, one must understand where these laws came from. The laws came from a higher power of spirit. And our people had evolved on this land for thousands and thousands and thousands of years to one day come forward to come and share these teachings. If there is ever going to be a future for our children, then we must support the Spirit in trying to guide, to direct, and to inspire our children. And what we should be doing as educators, as teachers, as adults, parents, any people in a position of power, is to ensure that our children have the opportunity to be very much on the land, more land-based experiences, that they're able to feel the trees and the land. I would even suggest that the majority of the education of the child be felt on the land. All the other technical, intellectual stuff is very easy to learn, but a little more challenging when it comes to the spirit, because there's effort that must be made in order to be able to be a part of nature. But children deserve the right to feel the land. And this is where we have failed in our education of the children, is the education of their spirit. And there's nothing more universal and more common to all of us than the land. The land will speak to the child. The first law that was given to the people, the eagle, and the eagle represented the law of love. And when the child sees the appearance of the eagle flying in the sky, and if they know what that eagle represents, whenever they see the eagle, they will always call upon the eagle for more love in their life. Or they will ask for more ways that they can give love to life. The next law that was given was the law of respect, which was symbolized by the buffalo. And when they see the buffalo representing respect, which means having the ability to be able to give. True respect is having the ability to know that secret of giving. And whenever they see that buffalo and they say, I want to give, I want to stop being selfish. Because when they reach the level of understanding the power of giving, they will realize that they're only giving back to themselves. That's when people can understand what really giving is. And this is where, again, we have failed in our society, that we have lost that spirit of respect. We have lost that spirit of giving. There is no need for anyone to be displaced and not have the basic needs of survival. There is no need for the homeless. There is no need for poverty in this world. What has caused the poverty in the world is the inability to be able to give, where a few people have reaped more than their share. And the answer to poverty is giving, to give. To show respect to life, you give. You give of yourself. You serve your fellow man by giving of yourself. Rather than giving yourself for profit, but you give of yourself for the betterment of humanity, for the betterment of the world, to be able to give. And when a child sees that buffalo, and if they have heard those teachings, there's a shift of attitude and there's a shift of perception. The third law that was handed down and given to the people was the law of courage, represented by the bear. And it is said that we need the spirit of courage to live the human life. We do need a lot of spirit of courage to live this life today, to be able to find the spirit of courage to live a spiritual life. Doesn't take much spirit to live a material life. Doesn't take much spirit to hate. It takes a lot of spirit to be able to do the right thing, to do what is right. And it takes a lot of courage to listen to your heart and to your spirit as it's telling you what to do, but your mind tells you something else. It takes a lot of courage, and that's why the bear is there. The bear to our people represents many things. The bear, they say, goes out and hibernates in the winter, and our people don't understand it that way. The bear goes to fast. It's fasting all winter. And this is important for us as a people. The bear taught us how to fast, how to go on a vision quest. That's where we got vision quest from, the bear. The bear fasts for Mother Earth, and he fasts all winter because he's fasting for the earth. He represents the love and the courage that is needed, to show that love of the land of life. So the bear is so important, in offering direction and inspiration of courage in our life. The next law that was handed down to the people was the law of honesty, which was represented by the one that they call Sabe. When the child looks at Bigfoot as it appears out of the land, to our people, Bigfoot, Sabe, is able to transform itself from a spiritual and come into a physical world for a little while for us to see. Or else the spirit of Sabe allows itself for certain people to witness its form and vision. Our great Creator chose this Bigfoot to represent the spirit of honesty. Very hard thing to do, to be honest. So maybe that is why the spirit of Bigfoot is so elusive. We see it and it's gone. Because we have a hard time to be honest. And the elders say the best way that you could show honesty and honor the spirit of the Sabe or Bigfoot is to speak from your heart. Speak and listen to your spirit that is giving you the inspiration of the words that you are to speak. And when you are honest with yourself, you are true to the words that you speak. If you make a promise, then you will be true to your promise. That is why for our people we have a difficult time signing contracts, because it can be torn up. It can be it don't mean anything. To our people, the word that is spoken from the heart is the highest contract that you can make. Whether it is with another human being or whether it's with the spirit. It is the heart that really truly represents the spirit of honesty. And the spirit of that Bigfoot is there to offer us that spirit of honesty, to help us to be honest. When the young people see the beaver as it appears and it is building this dam, and the young people that have heard the teachings and say, there goes the beaver, reminding us that it carries his wisdom. And the young people will say, you know, wisdom, the way that the elders have taught us, wisdom is to know that we, each of us, have a gift, a special gift, a unique gift. Each and every one of us have a gift. And that gift is to be used to serve life, to serve humanity, to serve your people. One of the gifts that the beaver has is 2 sharp teeth that he uses to be able to build and create the dams and change the landscape. And if that beaver chose not to use his gift and lay on the shores while the other beavers were working, his teeth would grow so long that he would not be able to use them, and he would die. He would physically die. Now, if we do not use our gifts, we will also die, or we will become sick mentally, emotionally, or physically if we do not use the gift. So wisdom is knowing that you have a gift and you use it. You use that gift to serve life, to enhance life, the way the beaver uses his gift. When the young person sees the wolf as it comes out, out of the forest, and it falls on, on the trail of the wolf, and the young person will say that has heard the teachings, hey, there goes the wolf. Remember the teachings that the elders had said, that it is the wolf that brings the spirit of the teaching of humbleness. And what's the first thing that the young child sees as he meets the wolf? Is the wolf will stop and bow its head, which is a reflection of the wolf showing its humbleness to the presence of the human being. And the teaching of humility is very important in our life, and for the young person to understand. Because much of the division that we see in today's world is because people have not understood the spirit of humility. To understand the spirit of humility is, first of all, to understand that no one is above another human being in this life. No one is greater than any other human being in this life. No one is lesser than any other human being in this life. To be humble is to see us equally in the eyes of the Great Spirit. That through the unconditional love of the Great Spirit, that His love is expressed to all of us. In the same way that the sun will shine on us. The sun does not choose to shine on any one person alone or any one race of people. It shines on all. The seventh and final teaching that we were given is represented by the turtle. The turtle represents the teaching of truth. The truth really is a combination of all of these laws, and to understand where these laws have come from. These laws have come from a higher power of spirit. And the beginning of understanding one's life and the way that the sun rises each morning represents our understanding that if we can walk these 7 laws, we will have a beautiful life. If we can love and perform acts of kindness at every opportunity that we can, then our circle becomes filled with these laws. And the turtle represents that. The turtle represents the messenger of these laws. And according to the belief system of our people, the grandmother turtle was there as the Creator gave the teachings. And there was a time when our people were almost prevented. We almost lost this because people didn't understand the knowledge and the wisdom that we had as a people. But prophecy had foretold that we would survive and we would come. And today we come to lay out these teachings. When they built this building, they didn't realize, I don't think, what they were building. But there was a higher source of influence of spirit that was guiding the architects, that one day that it would be ready to receive what the sacred site was holding. And today we bring them and we share them with the rest of the world.
It's starting to click.
It is,
in the process of us.
You see, now that star has substance now. It has essence now. The elders have confirmed today that the new life has arrived. And a lot of people have asked that question, what did the elders mean that the new life has arrived? And the best way that I can explain that is that there's going to be a major shift. There's going to be a rebirth of life. There's going to be a cleansing of the earth. And nature is going to be the determining factor in supporting the new life. We will witness, and we are witnessing it now, with the weather patterns that are changing, the global warming, the economic uncertainties, many things that are happening in our environment is causing a lot of fear and a lot of uncertainty, which is a part of the shift and the changing that is going to happen. All we have to concern ourselves with is finding the spiritual foundation that will act as a strong connection with nature, that she will help us go through these challenging times that we will all be a part of, that we will all experience. Because we are all a part of the land, we are all a part of the earth. All we need to do is form an alliance with nature, form alliance with the spirit of the thunders, form an alliance with the spirit of the sun and the moon, and seek that help and guidance with the change that is coming. Spirit is free. Spirit is unconditional in terms of its love. Like all around each of us is the presence of spirit that our great Creator has put there to help us in our individual life spiritually. One can have the presence of a bear beside them. One can have the presence of the spirit of the eagle. One can have an angel beside them. One can have a spirit of light to guide that individual spiritually, to give that individual inspiration in their spirit and their heart, to guide them toward their own greatness in life. But we don't hear it because we're so fogged with materialism. We're so clouded by hatred and fear and anger that is in total opposition of the reality of the existence of spirit. In order to attract that spirit, you must become the essence of what that spirit is that you want to attract. If you want to attract the spirit of love from the eagle, then you must be of that love in order to attract it. In order to attract the spirit of that honesty, in order to attract that sabe to come to you, then you must be prepared to be honest. You know, the dilemma that we're facing as human beings, is that we try to outdo each other in terms of giving definition to something that can't necessarily be intellectualized or proven. And in the ways of our people, they say, stop worrying about everybody else and find the Creator within yourself, and everything else will just fall in place. And it's true. In this time and in this age, a seed is being planted right now, a seed of a vision and a seed of hope. We are going to rise to that level in a global sense, that we are going to be living a spiritual life. We are spiritual beings living this human life. And it's going to be people like yourself, that will meet that challenge and say, well, I'm going to help support this global world of peace, of spirit. And you all have the power within yourself to be able to do it. Don't worry about what other people think or say. It was prophesied that it would be the indigenous people that would lead the spiritual movement back to the center. And we lay out the essence of what the foundation of that center is. First and foremost, the reality of our belief system that there is a higher power of spirit. People can call that higher power or spirit in whichever way that they identify with that, whatever religion, whatever they believe. As long as there is an acknowledgement and accepted of a higher power of spirit, that's the beginning of the laying of the spiritual foundation of the new life. And we're at the point now becoming to realize that we have to change our attitude, and we have to change our behavior. And what the indigenous people have always said and have always inspired their fellow human beings, and that is to treat the land with respect, because out of the respect comes all that we need in order to be able to live and to survive. And also comes the knowledge that is available in nature to help us to understand more of the sacredness of life.
First Nations traditions are very experiential, you know, and it's bridging these two worlds that is I think opened many doors for me. I guess I couldn't help but feel some kind of relationship while being introduced to Dave in these teachings of a kind of, I guess, a son having this knowledge passed down, something that was revealed in a dialogue from an elder.
We need to come to terms of understanding how sacred that life is. And we will extend that sacredness to everyone that has the blessing of life. All life will then be considered sacred. That all life has a purpose, all life has meaning, and that we are all connected, we are all related, that we are all one in the eyes and the love of our Great Spirit. When we can understand that, I believe that's when we will achieve that harmony and that peace that many of us, I know out there, are searching for.
Getting mad.